This is High Power 102.7 FM, your number one source for reliable news, impactful conversations, uplifting music, and community-driven content. We inform, we inspire, we connect. High Power 102.7 FM, the vibe of the people.
Hi. A wise gentleman once said that if you truly want to be free, that the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. With these, I welcome you to another edition of In the Polity on your wonderful radio station, Hyper 102.7 FM in Morele, Owo. This is a program packaged to clinically dissect issues in our political life and to review major activities that took place throughout the week since Monday in our nation. I want to sincerely thank you for joining us today. My name is Alaba Adeyemi. I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy today's edition of the program. Starting from Ondo State this evening, there were several activities that took place this week in Ondo State to mark the 50th year of the creation of the state, from award being given to eminent personalities from the state, both deceased and alive. We also had a gala night to celebrate that 50th year anniversary. Several other events were outlined and were carried out to mark that wonderful occasion. Very soon, I shall be bringing you a couple of things said by eminent personalities in that at that occasion that took place this week in Ondo State. On Tuesday, the governor of the state spoke to the people of the state in a statewide address that was publicized virtually on every major radio station in our state, and IPA FM also did a broadcast of that address. I shall bring you a little out of that statewide address right away. You have the opportunity to listen. If you didn't listen while the governor addressed the state, you have another opportunity to listen to what the governor told the people of the state on Tuesday morning. What did the governor say to the people of the state on Tuesday morning? You would have the opportunity to hear it again. Maybe not everything, but a reasonable portion of that address, where he paid tribute to the governors before, both military administrators and civilian administrators. He also spoke extensively about his vision for the state. I'll be right back. Okay, check it. Minimize it.
No. Media mo tún lọ kàn sí. Ẹjọ́ sá media ni màá ẹ̀ta ló ń kà.
Ìnílò ẹ̀ kò kà.
A kàn change
okay.
Ẹ ti understand báyìí.
Sílẹ̀ bẹ́yìí. Ẹ kàn minimize it.
A change template yẹn.
Okay.
Mo ṣe mistake àwọn ẹgbẹ́ tí.
Okay, no problem.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ní sọ́yìn yẹn kó.
Today, history pauses, if only for a moment, and invites us to stand still at the confluence of memory and destiny. With hearts lifted in profound gratitude to Almighty God, it gives me great delight to address you on this momentous day as Ondo State marks 50 remarkable years of existence, 50 years of aspiration and resilience, of struggle and sacrifice, of faith in today and prosperous future. The great land we now proudly call Ondo State was historically known as Ondo Province.
Hello, sir.
A vast, contiguous, and resource-rich territory
I'm on here, but
stretching
Mike
from
is
the
bait.
northern hinterlands to the Atlantic coastline, bordered by Oyo
That's
and
5 o'clock, sir.
Ijebu provinces to the west, the former Midwest to the east, and the old Kwara axis
Okay,
to the
I'm
north.
going to mute Mike.
Under colonial administration,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
it functioned as a single provincial unit with its residency headquartered in Akure. Fast forward certain unresolved structural contradictions strained the fragile fabric of the young post-independence Nigerian state and culminated in the tragic civil war of 1967. The 12-state structure introduced by the General Yakubu Gowon administration was a courageous step, but it did not only fully address the root causes of these tensions and the fear of the minorities. It therefore fell to the visionary and reformist leadership of General Muritala Ramat Mohammed, guided by the recommendations of the Justice Ayo Rikefe panel, to undertake a more fundamental reconfiguration of the Nigerian Federation. Thus, on 3rd February 1976, the old Western states was dissolved into Ogun, Ondo, and Oyo states. That singular act did more than redefine administrative boundaries. It affirmed identity, restored dignity, and brought governance closer to the people, thereby laying a durable foundation for participatory development and inclusive growth. This Golden Jubilee is far more than the celebration of figures and marking of time. It is a civilization landmark where reflections on the past intersect with the journey forward. It is an honest appraisal and a solemn recommitment to the future we must consciously and courageously build for generations yet unborn. On this historic day, I salute every son and daughter of Ondo State, farmers and fisher folk, artisans and professionals, public servants, elders and youth, those at home and those in the diaspora, for being living testimonies in the unfolding story of the Sunshine State. Ondo State is a living moral community, defined by resilience, sustained by learning, ennobled by industry, and bound together by an abiding faith in progress through collective endeavor. My good people of Ondo State, no commemoration of this Golden Jubilee can be completed without solemn homage to the patriots whose vision and tenacity made Ondo State a reality. With reverence and gratitude, we salute the architects of modern Ondo State, men and women who transformed collective yearnings into historical fact. Foremost among them were the members of the then Ondo Provincial Movement under the distinguished leadership of the late Chief Gilbert Benjamin Akinyemi Akinyede, with Mr. Deji Adegoroye as secretary. From their maiden meeting at Omolere Nursery and Primary School, Akure, on the 11th day of November 1973, they mobilized communities, harmonized divergent interests, and sustained relentless advocacy until destiny yielded. Using our revered living legend and foremost leader of Afenifere Group, Pa Reuben Fasoroti, we honor the memory of those who have answered the final call and celebrate those still with us. Traditional rulers, statesmen, scholars, administrators, and activists whose sacrifices secured our rightful place within the Nigerian Federation. Their vision was clear and compelling: to unlock the immense human and natural endowments of this land and to pursue development that is people-centered, inclusive, and enduring. Long before the proclamation of statehood, Ondo Province stood as a major economic pillar of the defunct Western region. Historical records attest to its overwhelming contributions in cocoa, palm produce, timber, and other agricultural export commodities that financed regional infrastructure, iconic projects in the southwest like the foremost cocoa house in Ibadan and underroot national growth. Like all enduring institutions,
That was a part of the speech delivered by the Ondo State Governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, on Tuesday to mark the 50th year of the creation of Ondo State. Moving forward, we will now move to Kwara State, where bandits who are believed to be members of the Islamic extremist group Lakurawa had murdered over 100 persons. And what we are about to listen to is an interview granted to a national TV station by the leader of one of the communities attacked. He aired his opinion on what truly took place there. I want you to take a listen to what the man told newsmen yesterday.
You see, starting from the federal government, that particular arena and access has just exited from Mahmuda terrorist invasion. Don't forget, that was the same local government joined by Barutel local government where...
Pardon my error. This particular person speaking now is a security expert. He's a security expert who will still have the time to listen to that which the leader of the community said. But this is a security expert analyzing what really took place in Woro, that is in Kayama local government area of Kwara State in the last 48 hours.
The Mahmuda terrorists are threatened for them not to go to farm in the farming season until steps were taken, just the way His Excellency Abdulrazak Abdurrahman and other well-wishers who displayed their ownership involvement, because the issues most of the inhabitants of Kayama and Barutel local government are aware of their citizens' role as well as ownership involvement role, because as it was happening, they already started transmitting the information. Unfortunately, rescue did not come until a lot of people were massacred. Even the figure government is trying to give now is beyond that. As I speak to you, before I got into the Transcorp here, they told me they had casualty rising up to 300. They were still performing their janaiza, that is the Islamic burial rites and also for that, because I was communicating directly with the inhabitants in Woro. Because when it happened, they called, even though there were negligence at their part too, and the skeleton military officers that were there, because they said there were about 30 soldiers that were in that community. And these non-state actors came, they grouped in the primary school, they even saw them with guns. So neither the inhabitants nor the security forces that had only 30 people there could give information, because proximity between Woro to Kainji, where you have air weapons school, as well as 221, as well as 101 battalion, is like 3 hours journey, even though there is dilapidated network. The major constraint in that area is bad road network, because from Wawa to Woro is about 40-something kilometers. But for you to get there, you spend up to 3 hours. Then leaving Wawa to Kama, you end up spending 5 or 6 hours. Even if you are in an SUV, potholes are up to this, and it is close to abandoned wildlife. These are basically ungoverned areas. But the other negligence at the part of government is also what happened to the earlier intelligence officers posted who succeeded in arresting Mahmuda leader in Wawa. Wawa is close to Woro. They already had this privileged information. This Papiri, this Kaswandaji, they are all close. It is a border between Kwara and Niger State, and you transit from there also to Kebbi and Sokoto State. Already the intelligence reports are there that these fleeing Lakura terrorists, fleeing bandits might have solace in the abandoned wildlife forest just between Mokwa to Ibi. That was where Mr. Niworu Ibrahim was kidnapped, a former commissioner in United States, as well as Barrister Ahmed, a serving INEC commissioner in United States. Till date, to no avail. The bandits will call and say, give us card, even after the payment of 40 million naira ransom. So in the whole, from Kainji, Wawa and others, even with the presence of Air Weapons School, 101 Battalion, let me tell you one ironic thing. The issues are, they said these same non-state actors, whether ISWAB or what have you, had written to the locals that they were coming, just the same way they wrote to Kemanji. But fear, they even came with a perception of kind of inimical preaching, which they never key into. Then some of the community members said there is a particular dialect which belongs to Babana area. They call it Boko dialect that they were speaking. Some of them were also. It means there was a kind of collaboration and conspiracy between them and some inhabitants that are neighboring villages to that particular Waro village. So at a stance, without rehabilitating the roads from Wawa to Kayama, no matter what constraint, even the operational vehicles, the gun trucks of the army will have, because if you move in force before you go and carry out this onslaught, they might have escaped through motorcycles.
That was a voice of a particular, that was a voice of a security expert detailing what actually took place in Woro. I'll be right back with further details of things that took place there and some other events that took place during the week. As the security expert said, persons are still being buried in Woro as we speak. Dead bodies are still being discovered. Although the government put the number of casualties at 75, the Red Cross organization put the number of victims that fell to the bullets of the bandits to about 165. But some local residents of the area are saying that the number of persons affected by this attack are close to or over 300. The official figure is 75. The Red Cross figure is 165. And the locals are saying that over 300 of their persons are either dead or missing. We will leave it at that. We will urge that the federal government and all security agencies buckle up and do the job they are elected for or employed to do. You're welcome back. 2 days ago, the Nigerian Senate passed the bill for the amendment of the Electoral Act. There has been several arguments over what they actually passed, what was the content of that particular bill that was passed. However, the Senate had come out to explain what really transpired. I'll give you the chance to listen to Senator Eyinaya Abaribe from Abia State explaining what actually happened, because Nigerians were quite annoyed. Majority of Nigerians were annoyed with some of the news that they were reading about that. But let me bring you what he said.
That it will be necessary to make a clarification of what happened yesterday, to put the records straight. Yesterday, the Senate did not, I repeat, did not pass transfer of results, which was in the 2022 Act. What we passed, and which the Senate President himself, when he was doing a clarification sitting on his chair, is transmission of results. And I need to make this very clear. Every one of us who is a senator, who has the privilege to represent a senatorial district, came here under the trust of their senatorial zone. And the reason for us to go into a closed session was so that we tidy up all the needs inside there. And when we now come back to plenary to pass it, that we will pass it without any rancor. I can assure you, on the honor of all of us standing here, that both the Electoral Committee of the Senate, then the Ad hoc Committee of the Senate, and also in the executive session that we had, that we all agreed on section 63, which is electronic transmission of votes, or electronic transmission of results. It's transmit, not transfer. What is in 2022 is transfer, and we don't want a law that is vague. We don't want a law that will be misinterpreted by anybody. We want a law that is clear, concise, and can be interpreted by all, and that is unambiguous. So it is electronic transmission of results. Yes, thank you. I think we can end it here because we've done what.
That was the voice of Senator Eyinaya Abaribe explaining what really took place on the floor of the Senate. Then we shall move to another topic. Please don't go away. I'll be right back. You're welcome back. A story that started in 2021 came to a close yesterday. A commercial motorcyclist in Akure named Oluwarotimi who was shot in the leg by men of the Amotekun Corps in 2021, died yesterday. Between 2021 and now, in 2023, he took the Ondo State Amotekun Corps to court, and he obtained a judgment where the High Court, the Ondo State High Court, requested that he should be paid 30 million naira as compensation, a judgment to which the Amotekun Corps appealed, and subsequently he was also the Court of Appeal asked them to pay another extra 250,000 on that 30 million as for wasting the court's time, which the young man waited in vain until he died. I am going to read a press statement written today, an open letter written to the governor of Ondo State this morning by his legal counsel, Tope Temokun. Open letter to the governor of Ondo State, 6th February 2026. His Excellency, Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, Executive Governor of Ondo State, Governor's Office, Alagbaka, Akure, Ondo State. Dear sir, the death of a judgment creditor, a governor's test of conscience, following our letter of notification to you of the death of your citizen, Oluwarotimi, who until his death, the government owed judgment sum of 30 million naira, will write openly to you now, sir, on behalf of the estate of the late Mr. Oluwasegun Olayinka Oluwarotimi, herein referred to as the deceased or judgment creditor, as the contest admit, the victim of the unlawful shooting by an Amotekun officer of the Ondo State Security Network Agency, Amotekun Corps, on the 9th day of August 2021 at Araromi Junction, Akure, which resulted in severe leg injury, subsequent amputation, permanent disability, loss of livelihood, and as a commercial motorcyclist. Children drop out from school and profound lifelong suffering till his demise. Sir, prior to the present circumstances below are the key timeline and formal demands made to your office and of your agent as governor of Ondo State. 18th October 2022, we wrote a letter to the Ondo State Amotekun Corps Commandant in 2022 demanding a compensation of 2 million naira on behalf of the victim, now deceased. 24th of October 2022, we wrote a letter to the then governor, Arakunrin Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, son, for bringing the matter to his attention. Steps after judgment. Letter of 30th March 2023, reference number TTC/L/95/2023. We wrote a letter to the then governor, Arakunrin Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, son, for compliance with Ondo State High Court judgment delivered 29th of March 2023 by Justice Omolara Adejumo, awarding 30 million naira. 30th March 2023, we wrote a parallel appeal letter to the Honorable Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice for Enforcement, Advice and Compliance. Step taken under you as the governor after the Court of Appeal struck out the government's appeal. On the 20th November 2024, we wrote an appeal letter to Your Excellency following the Court of Appeal 19th November 2024 ruling striking out this Ondo State government appeal, affirming the High Court judgment. On the 20th of November 2024, parallel appeal to the Attorney General citing the Court of Appeal decision. On the 10th of June 2025, formal request to the Attorney General of the state to advise compliance with the judgment citing deteriorating health condition of the deceased. On the 11th of June 2025, formal request to Your Excellency for payment of the judgment sum detailing ongoing devastation despite this repeated documented demand spanning over 2 years. No single reply, no empathy, and after judgment, both at the High Court and after the Court of Appeal struck out the Ondo State government appeal, no compliance, no intention to negotiate a compromise. Background. Sir, on the 29th day of March 2023, the Ondo State High Court, presided by Justice Omolara Adejumo, delivered judgment in suit number AK/411/2022, awarding the sum of 30 million naira as damages against the Ondo State government and Ondo State Security Network Agency, Amatekun, in favor of the deceased. The Ondo State government appeal against the said judgment was struck out by the Court of Appeal sitting in Akure on the 19th day of November 2024 for being incompetent and with the taxpayers' money. A motion for leave to appeal was filed by the state, and that has been the state's instrument of obstruction, the judgment debt, and the deceased enjoyment of the fruit of his judgment till the time of his death. Despite all of this repeated demand and appeal, the judgment sum remained unpaid, leading us to file a to garnish proceeding against the state on the 10th day of December 2025. The Ondo State High Court granted a garnish order directing various commercial banks to show cause why funds belonging to the Ondo State government in their care should not be attached to satisfy the judgment debt. And this, like every other attempt so far, faced strong attempt by the state to frustrate execution through filing of several processes, staying of execution both at the state court, state high court, and the Court of Appeal. Regrettably, we must now formally notify Your Excellency that Mr. Oluwasegun Olayinka Oluwarotimi has since passed away on the 4th of February 2026. Notwithstanding the sad atmosphere, it is our duty that we bring to the notice of the state that the untimely death of Mr. Oluwasegun Olayinka Oluwarotimi has not extinguished the judgment debt which survives to his estate under the applicable and relevant laws. Late Mr. Oluwasegun Olayinka Oluwarotimi is survived by 2 children, namely Samuel Oluwasegun, aged 13, Darasimi Oluwasegun, aged 9. The estate of the late Mr. Oluwasegun Olayinka Oluwarotimi is for now represented by his mother, Bolaniwa Florence Rafatu Ne Oluwarotimi. The deceased endured unimaginable hardship following the incident, loss of livelihood as a commercial motorcyclist, reliance on crutches, abandonment by family members, accumulated medical debt, inability to provide or educate his children, and deep financial and emotional distress. These sufferings were compounded by the prolonged non-compliance with the court's order. Payment to the estate is now essential to provide some measure of relief and justice to his soul and his dependents and heirs. Finally, sir, let me say this, that no government should allow a citizen to die waiting for the benefit of a judgment sum awarded and granted by the state court. Not that he didn't cry out, he did, but he was ignored because he was a non-person. Oluwasegun left behind 2 children, a boy and a girl, and the state now has a heavy burden of satisfying, further denying the kids justice which the state denied their father. Payment now is no longer just a legal duty, it is a moral reckoning, as the state has the opportunity, even in this tragic moment, to restore faith in justice in our court under the government you sit over. Yours faithfully, Tope Temokun, Esquire, Principal Counsel, Tope Temokun Chambers. He wrote his name and his email address there. We cannot read that, but that is the letter written this morning by the counsel to the now deceased motorcyclist who was a victim, according to the State High Court and the Court of Appeal, who was a victim of brutality by men of the Ondo State Security Network, codenamed Amotekun. This case is a widely reported case from the onset. It was widely reported, and as a reporter working for an online medium, I investigated and followed up this story since 2023. I want to give room for our people to join this conversation and to react to all the three incidents that I have brought to you today. The number to call, the studio line, you know the number, but let me give those who might not have the number to join this conversation. The number is 08165524699. That is the number. Someone is already on the line. Hello. Thank you very much for joining us. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Thank you, sir. My name is Pierre. I'm calling from Imori.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me start with the issue of Ondo State, where you have just sent that picture.
Okay.
And they just passed on that Okada rider.
Yes.
So painful. You know why I even called to this program is that when you begin to read the letter, according to the lawyer, you communicate that one of your citizens. You see, politicians don't see everybody as a citizen. Yes, assuming it's a politician now, it's that guy or it's a, have a brother that has an affiliation with politics, then they can only recognize him. So, after our every 4 years, they come with our 10,000 naira, 5,000 at the case meeting. That's all the contract they have with the people. So it is very, very painful. Even the Okada people, they pay money to the every day on daily basis to this same government. At that one government said they want to pay 30 months to worker. It's funny to me because look at the artisan, look at the Okada. Do you know how much Okada people generate?
Mr. Guerrero, to buttress your point, as a matter of fact, I found out that aside Lagos, Ondo State Okada riders are the one who pay the highest to the government in the whole of Southwest. Aside Lagos.
Can you see? Because I get to even know when this Mr. Now is the general affair to look at.
Oh, sorry. I think the line dropped. I would have loved to hear from you more. I don't know. I think it has to do with the network, but we will fix that very soon. We were having a fantastic conversation. About our state, about our nation today. Mr. Gbero from Emurele just said that this victim of Amotekun brutality, being a politician or a brother to a well-known politician, that the case would have been settled. This young man was shot in August 2021. He was an innocent gentleman who took a passenger to Araromi Junction in Akure. He was looking for change while a particular Amotekun officer came to him and asked him why he didn't run when he saw them. And the man shot him in the leg. He was rushed down to the Federal Medical Center in over here, but they were also, the doctors there were also on strike. So a lot of issues took place. The gentleman went everywhere seeking justice. I remember that while I worked briefly with a radio station in Akure, this gentleman came there to narrate his story too. I remember that several media houses, his story is online. It is not difficult to find. If you Google it today, you would see it. Okada rider shot by Amotekun. You would see that virtually every reasonable media house in our country had covered this story. 30 million for a leg is not too much. For a leg taking, his wife left him with his younger child. He was left with a boy. That boy dropped out of school. And this is the situation we have found ourselves. If the poor cannot find justice, then there is no justice in the land. As far as I am concerned as Alaba Adeyemi, I would tell you that the way to know a just society is to ask, how do they treat the weakest persons in their in the community? For you to know if your community is a just community, just take a look at how the weak, the old, the less privileged are treated in that community. That's when you can. That's the yardstick. That's the standard. Well, we pray that the Lord will rest his soul, and that his children that he left behind, that they would get justice in due time. I took my time to read the entire letter as written by his counsel, and I want to actually praise the legal counsel for he represented the man from the beginning till the Court of Appeal pro bono. He represented him, and you would see that from the content of the letter, the back and forth, you would see that he did his part well. I want to say a very wonderful thank you to Barrister Tokpe Temokun, and it is my prayer that posterity will justify the righteous. There is one more topic I would have loved to take. Because of our time, I would suspend that till next week. I want to thank everyone who made attempt to call but could not call. And I want to say a wonderful thank you to Mr. Binro from Emirele, who is a constant listener to this program. Thank you very much, and God bless you. I want to thank everyone who is part of the crew that that made this program possible today. Thank you very much. Until next time that I will come your way again, I am Alaba Adeyemi. Thank you and goodbye.